So the scammers are at it again. I have said before, and I'll say again and again and again, never, 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 under any circumstance, will I ever contact you via text or email and ask you to buy a gift card or in any other way transfer money electronically. I will never do that. If you get a text that says it's from me, asking you to do that, it is not from me. It is a scam. The really terrible thing about this scam is that it preys on our goodness. You know, it's bad enough when we fall prey because of our pride, our vanity, our greed. When they prey on our weaknesses, that's bad enough. But they're preying on the generosity, on the kindness, on the goodness of people. And that is awful. But you got to give the devil his due. It's a pretty creative scam. It's effective because it is creative. It is imaginative. You give the devil his due, but no more. Jesus had a few things to say about that kind of creativity, that kind of imagination. The parable that he talked about, that he told his disciples, is kind of hard for us to hear because it sounds like Jesus is praising the dishonest steward. He's not. He's praising creativity and imagination and intelligence. And it really was a brilliant scheme. This steward who was going to lose his job gathers together all of the debtors and has them write out a new promissory note and getting rid of the other one. He makes them do it. He doesn't do it, though it was his responsibility. He was able to enter into these kinds of contracts with people, but it wasn't him that wrote it out. So if anything ever came up because of it, it wasn't him who pulled the scam off. It was them. It was the debtors. And now he's got something to hold over their heads. If their generosity to him ever runs out, he can always say, well, you know what? You don't want anybody to know that you cheated the master out of all that olive oil, out of all of that grain. You don't want it to become known that you are cheats. It also makes the master look generous, because everybody in town knows everybody else's business. And so now everybody knows that the master has somehow forgiven half of the debts owed to him. And so he looks good. He's happy with all of this. What Jesus is praising is not the dishonesty. He's praising the creativity. He is praising the ingenuity. He's praising the imagination. But he tells his apostles, his disciples, people of this world, people of darkness, people are no more creative than you are. You are absolutely just as creative, just as imaginative as they are. The question is, who will you serve with that creativity? Who will you serve with that imagination? Because you cannot serve two masters. You cannot serve both God and mammon. And so the gift of creativity, the gift of imagination is from God, but who we serve depends on us. Give the devil his due, but don't give him any more than that. The due that is due the devil is the way that he entices us to use those great gifts in his service. I was at a funeral on Friday, funeral of an older parishioner of us, Frank Studevin. And at the funeral, all 5 of his children got up to eulogize him. the youngest, told of a story when he was younger and always in trouble. His father one day had to pick him up from jail. And on the way home, he was upset. And he asked his father, "When am I ever going to learn? When am I going to get it?" And his father told him, "You're smart. You're going to figure this out." And he said, "I don't feel smart. I keep making the same stupid mistakes. I feel like I'm losing over and over and over again." And his father said, "Son, losing ain't lost. I know you. You've got this." Amos says exactly the same thing. It's really an interesting reading, isn't it? Because when he starts, the prophet Amos, it sounds as if he's writing to the people who are cheating the poor. It sounds as if he's writing to warn those people who are breaking God's law and his commandment. But then at the end, it turns and he says, "Never will I forget what they do." This is the voice of God telling the people who are being robbed, being tricked, being sold into slavery for a pair of sandals. He is telling them, "I know you. And you may feel like you're losing every time you turn around, but losing ain't lost. I will never forget. I know you, and you have got this." Sometimes it does feel like we are losing over and over and over again. You know, after September 11th, there was a study done and a report came out indicating that what failed on September 11th was not a failure of intelligence. We knew that something was going to happen. We knew that something big was going to happen. We had all the intelligence we needed. We had all the information we needed. It was not a failure of intelligence. It was a failure of imagination. We simply could not have imagined something so horrific. That is almost always our problem. We fail to be as imaginative as God made us. We think that the idea of creativity and imagination is all given to the crooks. And really, can you imagine, just imagine for a minute, if all of those people who are scamming us used their imagination, their creativity to serve God? What wonders could they not do? We fail in our imagination. And so when we feel like we're losing, we feel like we've lost. And so when you feel like you're losing, when you feel like over and over again you keep losing to addiction, imagine the voice of God telling you, "Losing ain't lost. I know you. You got this." When we feel like we are losing over and over and over the battle for our marriage, imagine the voice of God telling you, "Losing ain't lost. I know you. You have got this." Imagine when we feel like we're losing over and over and over again the battle of justice in our land, imagine the voice of God telling us, "Losing ain't lost. I know you. I know everything about you. I have counted every hair on your head. I know you, and you have got this. Keep on getting back up because you've got this. Keep on pushing because you've got this. Keep on trying because you have got this. Keep on forgiving. You have got this." We need to be able to imagine more what God wants us to imagine, to put our imagination in the service of God. But to do that, we have to first choose it. We have to choose to imagine God speaking to us the way he has spoken to his people Israel, the way he has spoken to his disciples, the way he speaks to everyone. We all sometimes feel like we're losing. We are all in a battle. We are all in a struggle. We all have something that weighs heavily on us, and we feel over and over and over like we keep on losing. Imagine the voice of God Whatever it is, imagine the voice of God telling you that losing ain't lost. Imagine the voice of Jesus. I know you. You have got this. Give the devil his due, but give your imagination to God.